I specifically wanted to start this because I wanted to mess with Cutie because I could see him at the bottom of the screen with his pretty eyeballs right up against the thing. It's almost like you can feel a sclera.
Oh my god!
Right up against it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant.
That was.
I was like, when does it? When? No, I was standing there like this.
You know what? Hold on. That angle is the anime character is about to go fucking insane.
Yeah, that's Cutie realizing that Margaret Thatcher is still alive. Like,
oh,
that was perfect. I totally didn't realize.
I ended up seeing the PFLP at their front door. Let me in.
I didn't realize, Cruz, you couldn't see him like that.
No, yeah, I couldn't see him, so I was I was waiting to see what you were talking about.
He was doing that for like a minute, yeah. So I wanted to start out with that. So, real quick, Cutie, before we get into anything, here's something important to show you. What was that? Is that your special jar or something?
That's my Jello. That's my leftover Jello thing.
I hope it's not a jar. I've been on the internet
honestly,
long enough.
I haven't had any solid food in like an hour ago. I had pizza, but I did groceries today, and I got just pudding and Jello. I walked in there thinking I was gonna get all sorts of food. Came out pudding and Jello.
That's how it goes, honestly. That's
game. I like how we're kind of matching, Cutie.
Huh?
Like how we're kind of matching.
We're matching, yeah, of course.
So real quick, before we get into anything, Cruz just showed me this, and I wanted to show you this. Tell me what's wrong with this image.
There's no white women sitting in the chair.
Right. I mean, that's there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of their name, you know.
Oh, there's
Oh, yeah. There's something that
ain't. This is our first Kollectiv ad, guys. God damn. Yo, these aren't cheap at all.
No.
I mean, if you get rid of the K, then...
I just love the idea of us having a website and eventually merch or something like that, and someone misspells and comes to this website and they're like, these fucking Marxists are selling $5,000 massage chairs. What the hell?
40 smart massage chairs.
Does look comfortable though.
Where would we put it in the content house?
Oh, were you just looking up websites? You're Kollectiv.com.
No, I was pulling up the YouTube because I like to look at the chat while we're doing this, and I don't have YouTube Premium anymore, so I've been getting ads, and that ad came up under Kollectiv when I typed it in to pull up the channel. It was like, oh shit.
That's crazy. Oh man. Well, RIP. I guess we won't be able to use our name anymore. Maybe we could change it to Marxist massage chairs, and we'll just flip everything. So yeah. Marxist massage chair podcast.
Oh shit, Stalin's here.
Yeah, I didn't want to acknowledge him because it's scary, and I don't think he approves of the massage chairs. Are you there, Stalin?
He's looking kind of fine, not gonna lie.
Yeah, those chairs would, end in gulag time.
So you would
Are they
not
in the gulag?
Yeah, because everyone deserves them. But
okay,
yeah,
cool.
They're everywhere.
So would you have one in the Kollectiv content house that we're planning to open?
Oh, I know. Yeah, we should get one for when I start living on your couch, Ivan.
Yeah,
perfect.
100%. The content house is my one bedroom apartment.
Yep, we're just all gonna squeeze in there.
Jeez Louise. Cutie already christened it, so it's okay.
What? What did I christen?
My bathroom.
I was too busy smoldering, looking at myself. I was like, Shit.
You're ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I did take a shit at your house.
You did more than that. Let's put it lightly.
What's up, everybody? Hey,
He
I
said
feel like we haven't been here in a while.
spouse. I'm
I
gonna
haven't
blow it
been
up.
here in a little while.
You weren't here last time, were you?
Or the time before that, I don't think so.
Damn, bro. So it's been like
It's been a while.
Is it before November 4th? No,
Yeah, that's the last time I was on here was before then.
that's crazy. Wow, that's wild. No wonder it feels like I haven't seen you guys in forever. Even though I saw you,
It's because I am you guys.
It's like we talk every day. But
Yeah, that's not the same. Anyway, so the world is still in crisis. The world is still in climate crisis.
constant crisis.
All the time. But I wanted to do some little updates real quick on the G word side on the people who are supposedly hummus. If you catch my drift TikTok. Yeah, it's still going bad, still going terrible. Let's see here. So there was a 5-day truce that was supposed to start. And of course, immediately the first things that end up coming up on TikTok are Israeli forces breaking the truce, not enforcing their own deal, which is not surprising whatsoever, because they're a genocidal apartheid state. I'm not going to touch it myself.
It's like I believe there was sniper fire and tear gas just being launched seemingly at random.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got here from ABC. Israel, Gaza, live updates, 12 hostages released in latest exchange idea. 4-day ceasefire between Hamas and Israel has been extended by 2 days, Qatari officials announced on Monday. Dozens of the more than 200 people taken hostage during Hamas's October 7th surprise attack on Israel and held in the war-torn Gaza Strip for nearly 2 months were released over the last few days during the truce. Hamas has freed 81 hostages in exchange for 180 Palestinians released from Israeli prisons. So what ABC fails to mention here is that a lot of those prisoners are children. And I don't know if you guys have been seeing the TikToks. I wish I actually brought some up with me. Maybe I could find one a little bit. They're literally just like teenagers.
Well, as they say, is what is it? Underage people.
Yeah. One of them had been in there since she was like 9, and she's 17 now.
That's crazy.
There was a video of her reuniting with her mother, who she hadn't seen since then, and it's like, holy crap! And one of the key differences too with the hostage exchange is the Palestinians coming from the Israeli side are like, I've seen people tortured to death, people electrocuted, starved, like all this stuff, and then you get the videos of the Israeli prisoners being released by Hamas, and they're like, bye, shaking hands, like, oh, see you later, thank you. I think one girl was like, thank you, and like,
yeah, one of them wrote a letter to the people because they were like, yeah, you were super nice to my daughter. Thank you for making her feel like she was, quote, the queen of Gaza.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And then I think I had seen another report where I think it was 177 was the like exact number of prisoners that Israel released, and they've already retaken like 167 different Palestinian prisoners.
So they took. So what? They're going to end up.
They just swapped. They swapped, and because they didn't
160 in, 160 out.
So they didn't actually. So with this deal, like, they didn't actually lose any prisoners, as far as they're concerned. Like, they still have the same number.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, that's what better example of capitalism in decay into a fascist state? What better example of a scam of just in and out? Like, it doesn't matter. It's insanity.
Ooh, I can see that. You got the little mixer in there.
Yeah, my little
protein ball,
mixy ball. Yeah, I'm trying to get swole. That's why I'm excited for my schedule to open up.
My ADHD took over we were talking about this, and I was like, "You're drinking protein."
I had seen that the Red Crescent Society said they had managed to get I think 200 aid trucks into Gaza and they've been helping out, which is more than they've been getting.
Are they being bombed?
So, currently, I don't believe they are actually.
No, wow. I mean,
At the very least, like they're still sniping people and trying like anyone that goes to help the people that are sniped, they're getting also sniped.
Yeah.
It's like that scene, Full Metal Jacket, where they like lure them out. They're doing exactly that. So
it's terrible, but I can't say I'm surprised. Real quick here, I just want to point out some language because you guys have heard me say this a million times. I think the use of language is really powerful. No, not the collective massage chairs. The latest outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas, which has been paused to allow for prisoner exchange and the delivery of humanitarian aid, is now approaching 2 months. In the Gaza Strip, more than 15,000 people have been killed and over 36,000 have been wounded by Israeli forces since October 7th, according to the Hamas government media office. Now, I like how they have to include it's coming from the Hamas government because this line has been going around for weeks now that you cannot trust anything that Hamas says. In Israel, at least 12,000 people have been killed and 6,900 others have been injured by Hamas and other Palestinian militants since October 7th, according to the Israel Defense Force. So we know that the Israel Defense Force is going to be seen in a better light than the Hamas government. And it's just gross. Very gross, but can't be surprised, but we have to keep talking about it because there's no alternative. We could just be silent and be complacent or what have you.
Or we'd be loud and annoying.
I'm going to try to find one of those TikTok clips real quick. When you guys want to jibber jab real fast.
Did you see the? At first, I think they thought they were the Houthi in Yemen were seizing those Israeli ships, and then I saw another report where there were like a couple of them at least were actually Somali pirates.
Somali pirates.
And then like my favorite comment from that was Captain Philip 2 is now in the works as a result, and it's going to just be an Israeli captain. They're going to use it as a propaganda machine.
Right. Tom Hanks will play in the next one too.
Yeah, it will still be Tom Hanks for some reason.
It's always Tom Hanks. Guys.
It's always Tom Hanks.
Or it's Tom. If it's not Tom Hanks, it's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, the Scientologist.
Right. Oh God.
I think that could be a topic of its own for another video. Honestly.
Oh yeah,
we should think about that for the future.
And then we will all get doxxed and bombarded by the Church of Scientology because that's what they do.
Oh no, they're gonna pray to their god Xenu with their $1 billion contracts. Oh my goodness.
That's actually that's a.
It was a $1 billion contract. I'm sorry.
Complete side tangent. One of the funniest stories about that was when South Park made fun of them. Scientology investigated and tried to get blackmail on Trey Parker and Matt Stone, but they were such just regular dudes. They couldn't find anything, and they were pissed that they could not blackmail the creators of South Park.
I was not able to pay attention to you because the door opened right behind you, and it was like
there's a cat.
It was like a little horror movie scene.
Yeah,
I'm going opened a little bit, and then it started closing. And it was like,
how great would it be if we're like doing one of these things and someone walks in here and like just murders me, and it's
they're just like
it goes viral. You have to blur it out, and it's a viral moment that goes all over the internet. And then in my death, Kollectiv becomes like super popular because now everyone knows of its existence.
Do I sound any different?
You sound
I can barely hear you. You sound like you are in the bathroom, but like the microphone is outside the door.
Yeah.
What about now?
No, there you go.
All right.
All I heard was just you going on.
Yeah, I had to
lost more thing.
I had to fix that. No, I didn't realize. See, when you were saying earlier, Cutie, that I sounded awful, I thought just because I was whispering into the mic, not that I was just in general.
Genuinely sound awful.
So. Y'all should have told me. You guys are goobers.
I did tell you, bro.
I
literally said, I
was
literally said, I'm not
messing
even
around.
joking. This is awful. I was like, I literally said, I'm not even messing with you. It sounds terrible.
But I was messing with you, so therefore I assumed that we were just kidding around. Oh God, I didn't mean to interrupt so bad, but I found a clip to share with y'all.
Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, it sounds kind of echoey in your room, but it's way better now. So that's...
Can you guys see the screen?
Yep. Oh, I actually heard it for a second.
Yeah, so I think this person, as who you were talking about, some have been gone for 8 years, and I mean, it's just insanity. That was a really short clip, but like,
there's a longer one somewhere. But yeah, if anyone wants to watch it, they can find it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just they're literally children, but whatever. Go off. I also saw some pretty crazy stuff in the last couple of days of just the Israeli government double downing on their rhetoric, basically saying all the civilians are Nazis. They're all genocidal maniacs, and we gotta wipe them out. Actually, so I got a story real quick that I didn't tell you guys in chat. So a friend of mine was actually able to get in a Zoom call for an organization, which for right now will remain unnamed, that was providing information to, let's see if I can get the pictures, providing information to people looking to settle in what will be their ideal former Gaza and Palestinian territories. And they sat through the whole Zoom meeting just to see what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disgusting. Like, they were straight up like, here's what to expect if you come to basically New Israel. We're going to build all these resorts and nice hotels and, never mind. See, now I see the door opening and I'm like, what the hell is that?
It's my cat.
But yeah, so they were basically being like, what to expect when you come here. And it was all like white people from, United States, England, and Europe. And like at one point they opened up a panel, like asking questions basically about like let the people attending the seminar ask questions. And one of them, people started asking about Lebanon. And this organization was straight up like, yeah, so we hope the IDF will basically cleanse all of Lebanon. The IDF is ready to go to war, and they'll just go in and wipe them all out. And it was just like super
just
casual. And my friend, he was like, the whole time he's like waiting for like the psych moment where they're like, I got you, Zionists. Like, but no, it was like genuine, like, yeah, we're like how we have collective meetings. Like, okay, we're here to discuss the ethnic cleansing. Like, that's bananas.
That's absolutely insane. And like, they just accept it. They're just like, the only way this works is if everyone else is dead, obviously. So, but we're supposed to be on their side, right?
Right. I've seen a ton
this is what they deserve to see.
Right.
Okay, that's all I have to say. That's what they fucking deserve to see. Okay.
Mussolini treatment.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sending myself some stuff in your Discord real quick so I can show you guys.
Like, if you have the gall to move, like let's say worst case scenario, Israel completely takes over Gaza, right? And they start rebuilding resorts. I know Biden and a bunch of them were there to discuss, or I don't know if Biden himself was there, but people were there to discuss what they're going to do, especially with oil. We can get on that in a minute. But it's like, if you have the gall to move there, like, you deserve everything that's coming. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, what was done to make that exist.
Right, like, if you settle there before your POS.
There's no in it. You can't just be like, oh, I was just looking for a family home and I could actually, finally get one. It's like, no, like, That's not how that
People
works.
are getting a sneak peek
Ooh.
at the logo right now, I guess.
Oh shit.
Oh, it's super small. You can't really see
I know.
it.
I'm all I'm saying
Yeah.
it's a sneak peek, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not mad
So-
at
For
it.
the dedicated
It
viewers.
looks good.
So this it does look good. So this is one of the screenshots I want to share with you guys from that Zoom call. In terms of world opinion and legitimacy support for the war, would it not have been better to go in hard and fast, even if the cost in terms of civilian casualties would have been higher, rather than risk time running out with this slower approach? How much time do we have left before the pressure to stop the mission is too great? Now, I like this one. This is liberal incarnate. Can you speak to what kind of mental health help the released hostages will be receiving? Can't imagine the level of severe trauma they've experienced. How are they being helped to transition into regular life? And I like how this person can have that kind of sympathy for people who relative to the evidence have been treated well, but not the children who are legitimately being obliterated.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
what
literally the message above. They're like,
I was like,
wouldn't it have been better if we just like got rid of them quicker? And they're like, well, have we considered the hostages?
I mean, it just
Like-
goes to show like they have sympathy for people that they consider people. Like if they don't consider you people, then they don't care about your mental health
Mhm.
because as far as they're concerned, you're an animal.
Right.
You're a rat. You like,
Mm-hmm.
the two classic terms that are used for this. Who cares about your mental health services? You can just die. But we're going to give mental health to the person that kills you because we got to
Sounds
make sure they don't feel bad.
1940-esque.
And it's like,
Mm.
Well, they talk about Palestinians like they're literally like, oh, you're just living in your house and there's a spider on the wall. Like, oh my God, a spider on the wall! Smack the spider. Are you okay? Did the spider scare you? Like,
It stressed me out.
I mean,
Made
they
my
literally call them
anxiety-
cockroaches. It's disgusting, honestly.
That in particular like makes me physically cringe when I hear people talk like that.
Yeah.
Like I remember a couple years ago I saw an article. I don't remember from what magazine, relatively popular, but they were calling Chinese people cockroaches, and I was like, you guys are disgusting. Like I just don't understand it. Let's talk about this article from the Intercept. It's very related to what we're discussing, and I can see there's a decent amount of people on the TikTok people. If you want to see the article with us, you gotta jump on YouTube. But real quick, so let's do this. I know we all saw this earlier, but from the Intercept, Joe Biden moves to lift nearly every restriction on Israel's access to U.S. weapons stockpile. By easing virtually all limits on Israel's use of stockpile, Biden could undercut U.S. military preparedness and congressional oversight. White House has requested the removal of restrictions on all categories of weapons and ammunitions Israel is allowed access from the U.S. weapons stockpile stored in Israel itself. The move to lift restrictions was included in the White House supplemental budget requests sent to the Senate on October 20th. This request would, the proposed budget says, allow for the transfer of all categories of defense articles. The request pertains to little-known weapon stockpiles in Israel that the Pentagon established for use in regional conflicts, but which Israel has been permitted to access in limited circumstances, the very limits President Joe Biden is seeking to remove. If enacted, the amendments would create a two-step round restriction on U.S. weapon transfer to Israel, says John Ramings Chappell, a legal fellow with the Center for Civilians in Conflict. All right, so for the layman or people who, that was a lot of information I just said really quickly. Basically, if the way the U.S. operates is they not only have bases, but they have weapons depots, ammunition depots all around the world. And there, in particular, is a set of weapons and ammunition lying there in case of what they call a regional war. Basically, if they go to war with Iran or maybe even Russia or somebody in the Mediterranean. What they're saying in this article is basically we would give our weapons, we're going to give our weapons and whatever stockpiled to Israel. And I mean, yes, they're weapons of war, but this is, tons of ammunition, tons of mortar shells, artillery shells, probably chemical weapons too. And for what? to perpetuate
On it,
genocide.
let's be honest. There's probably tactical nukes in there, like small grade nuclear weapons as well.
Yeah.
That would be involved. Like a good analogy would just be like, there's a shed in your backyard, right? There's a shed there, and we have the key, and Biden is just saying, let's give them the key when we're not.
Keep going. I'm gonna be right back.
Fallout style.
Yeah, like not only are we going to use you as a warehouse, but you can also use whatever's in the warehouse, baby. Like, and it's insane. But not only that, but it's like that he wants to lift these restrictions and just have all these weapons and all that. But then when the topic of lifting like the embargo to Cuba, it's oh no, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
Hey, when you talk about gun control at home, the liberals are all about it. But when you talk about, sending guns abroad to Ukraine and to Israel, they're foaming at the mouth and jumping up and down, super excited about it. It's pretty disgusting.
They're all for death as long as it's, the people are the right color to die.
Yeah, exactly. The same kind of liberals who would have Black Lives Matter lawn sign, which there's nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter, but they'll have the lawn sign outside, but then at the same time be like, yes, we should give Israel weapons of destruction.
Oh man, speaking of, have you seen like the tweets and thread posts, Instagram posts, like all those posts of these liberals who be like, you need to back us up with Israel, black people, because we backed you up with Black Lives Matter. You owe us, like shit like that.
Because doing the right thing isn't doing the right thing. It's a transaction.
Yeah, it's all transactional.
Right.
It's all conditional. I only support you and your human rights if you support me and my perceived violations.
Right, and this is the problem when you have unprincipled people yapping about and running their mouths. Is they're going to say real heinous shit just like that. Just say that as if black people owe you anything. But on top of that, you're the same people supporting Joe Biden who's funding the police more, who's actively funding the oppression of black people.
Genocide Joe.
Or my favorite thing, because a lot of people are saying they're not going to vote for Biden, right? Especially Muslim people are saying they're not going to vote for Biden. And the number of liberals I've seen say, well, fuck them, ban them, bring the Muslim ban back.
Yeah.
Like they swapped so quickly.
Well, because they literally feel entitled to your vote. They literally feel entitled to your vote. And like, I don't know what it is, but there's something truly disgusting about asking a Palestinian person to vote for somebody who's sending money to a country that's killing their people. I think that if you're doing that, then you should probably go fuck yourself, to be totally honest.
No, I think
you get this treatment. I think you get this goddamn treatment because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you. I'm gonna be real. I really don't. I don't want to hear you act like you're better than everybody else. Fucking virtue.
You're not going to vote for the lesser of two evils,
and then simultaneously vote for somebody and support somebody who's literally committing genocide abroad.
It's brought out a lot of racism against obviously black people and Muslim peoples, and like one good example of what's been happening is what happened in Burlington, Bernie Sanders' home city and home state, where 3 Palestinians were gunned down.
Yeah.
Or did you guys see that that one? It was from a Zoom call. It was leaked, I believe, and it was for for the head. It was like an Israeli organization, and they were talking about how young Black Americans are their number one issue. And they even had a member on their board that was Black that looked over at them like, what? And they were just basically saying that the young Black Lives Matter movement, the Black American movement that's going on in America it's one issue that's getting in the way for Israel. That could be an issue in the future. That's what they're mentioning. How is it? It was a potential threat.
Oh yeah, they are definitely against black people in general.
Well, liberation abroad. Your support for liberation abroad, sometimes it comes home, know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, If they can
I mean, their
maintain
president's from
election
freaking
elsewhere, they can definitely do it here too. I mean, it's like
For sure. For sure.
And are we surprised from a country that euthanized, or not euthanized, chemically or
yeah,
I don't
you
even
can say it.
actually
They euthanized.
euthanized
I mean,
Ethiopian Jews? Like they, I can't think of the word. Like not castrated. They sterilized.
Sterilized.
That's it. They sterilized Ethiopian Jews, even though Israel's supposed to be, you know, a Jewish safe haven in a country for all Jews, but not if you're black Jews.
Mm.
95% of Zionists come from Poland.
Yeah. So are you surprised?
So real quick, I'm gonna read
back
this
to
out
this.
loud because the title card's showing up weird on TikTok. 1 of 3 Palestinian students shot in Vermont may never walk again after bullet hits his spine. His mother says. Here's a picture of one of the young boys. 1 of 3 Palestinian college students who were shot while walking in Vermont may not be able to move his legs for the rest of his life after a bullet became lodged in his spine, according to his family, who shared his account on the attack with CNN. 20-year-old junior at Brown University, Hisham Wartani, how do I pronounce it? Wartani, is starting to come in terms with the very long road he has in front of him. After he and 2 longtime friends from the Israel-occupied West Bank were shot while strolling through Burlington on Saturday, his mother, Elizabeth Prince, said. I'm actually surprised that CNN outrightly said Israel-occupied West Bank. Wartani is incomplete spinal injury, meaning he can feel his legs but can't move them. Prince told CNN's Poppy Harlow from Amman, Jordan. Tuesday morning, she said she is working to travel to the U.S. to be with her son and hopes to arrive in about 24 hours. The last I knew, he was still in the ICU, immobilized to try to get the swelling down on his back, Prince said. Or is it Price or Prince? My dyslexia is acting up.
It's too small on my screen.
Price, my bad, guys. Price, thank you.
Price.
Thank you. Watani clavicle is also broken, and he has fractured thumb. Price said, and because of the spinal injury, he has difficulty regulating his body temperature. He's expected to have between 1 and 4 weeks in spinal trauma care, followed by months in physical therapy. King Abdullah II of Jordan has offered his support. Now, I thought this was interesting today. The king's personal physician has reached out to me to convey His Majesty's concern for Hisham and the other boys, and is hoping to send a specialist to meet Hisham and identify what kind of support he needs, she told CNN. Now, I know as Marxists, we definitely don't subscribe to great man of history, and we definitely don't support monarchy. But I do think it is pretty interesting that, the king of Jordan themselves is reaching out, to this family. And I know it's performative, and I know, Joe Biden, whatever, would send his sympathies to, whatever happens, to white people in this country. But why isn't Joe Biden saying anything about this? I mean, we know why he's not, but
Yeah.
I just
Not even a thoughts and prayer tweet. Like, come on, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't even do the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you can't even come on down there or do whatever, or be like, we'll pay for his medical care or whatever. Nothing. It's just whatever, because Joe Biden obviously doesn't see Palestinians or Middle Eastern or brown people or black people as people. And that's just how he is.
I don't think he could see at all, Jack. Honestly.
Probably not. You guys see that video where they're asking him something in the press conference, and he just has like a half smirk coming up, and like he just looks dead. Like he doesn't.
He's not real anymore. He's their weekend at Biden. He's a
weekend
puppet.
at Biden's. Weekends at the White House.
It's
But
the
yeah,
Botox acting up.
So anyway,
just be like that the rest of the stream. It's just completely upside down.
What was I going to say? Anyway, the guy who shot those kids, he pleaded not guilty.
Of course he did.
Which, I mean,
I didn't do it though. I just shot a bunch of animals. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, and further in the article, it goes on to say that he shot at them when they had walked by his apartment, speaking in Arabic and also wearing the kiffia. I mean, what else is there left to say, man? Like,
yeah.
This is the violence that is permitted when your society at large supports genocide abroad.
and the society can only be fueled by more genocide. Like as we discussed earlier, like the only way any of these plans work is through further genocide. Like it's not going to stop anytime soon. 5-day ceasefire is nothing.
No, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But I want to say, what can we do? But at least we're here, trying to do something, trying to talk about it, trying to bring attention to it more than we can. Unfortunately, though, as much as we want to be optimistic in the face of, genocide, one of the other terrible things that has occurred in the world in the last couple of days, or I should say weeks, is Earth crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold.
And we actually briefly, a few days ago, we very briefly crossed the 2 degrees Celsius threshold, which is
I didn't even see that one.
I don't have that article pulled up, but we it was a very brief. It was like a day we crossed the 2 degrees Celsius, which is not something we were supposed to cross until like the end of the century.
Well, I mean, everything under when capitalism is in crisis, everything is just is accelerating.
With capitalism, anything is possible.
We're all gonna die.
Hulk Hogan music
We're
starts
gonna
playing.
die faster than anybody has ever died before. Like,
We're causing, unlike every other mass extinction event, because there have been 5 mass extinction events in the history of Earth. We will be the first to cause our own if we don't get our shit together.
who's to say that the dinosaurs didn't pray for the asteroid to hit them?
Who's to say they didn't build a satellite that drew the asteroid to Earth?
Yeah.
You guys believe in dinosaurs?
Fucking plebs.
Yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure the Earth is flat. You bunch of libs.
Yeah, it got flattened by the asteroid. Duh. Come on.
Mm-hmm. You guys believe in the Earth?
You guys are real?
You guys are stupid.
You
Anyway.
guys mean to tell me I'm not a brand sitting in a vat in some other
ad.
universe?
We're stuck in a
with
simulation, guys.
stimuli hitting my
No,
head?
listen. I'd be super mad if I was a brain in a jar, because why would I have dreamt up capitalism?
Yeah, what a shitty deal. What the hell is wrong with you, Ivan? I blame you.
No.
We're just in a game of Sims right now.
So according to the
Ice
Hill,
Wall Matrix. Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
according to the Hill, research published Thursday in Oxford's Open Climate Change Journal suggests the world will reach the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius warming by the end of the decade, which is crazy because you just said that we crossed the 2.0.
I think it was for a single day.
In addition to crossing the 1.5 degree threshold, the limit set by the Paris Climate Agreement by 2030, the studies suggest that Earth will hit 2 degrees of warming by 2050. That's wow. Early projections have suggested the world would reach these thresholds later, around 2035 and 2055. Lead author James Hansen at Columbia University wrote that climatologists have overestimated the planet's resilience to increased carbon dioxide levels. Although the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has projected that doubling the carbon in the atmosphere would warm the planet around 3 degrees, they estimate it would be closer to 4.8 degrees. Research based their estimate of equilibrium climate sensitivity on the basis of prehistoric data from sources such as ice cores. I like how I could read equilibrium, but I couldn't read price to Prince. These findings imply that there is a great amount of climate change in the pipeline. The authors wrote extraordinary actions are needed to reduce the net human climate forcing, as it is required to reduce global warming and avoid highly undesirable consequences for humanity and nature. So this guy is basically saying we got to have a revolution.
Yeah, like that's kind of where we're at. Like it's revolution or death. Like that's where we're at. Home planet or death.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't. I would say.
I shared
even intermediate, intermediate communists don't understand is that there's no maybe in this scenario. There's no we might do socialism, we might do communism, maybe we'll do a mix of both. No, it's either, there's not even a moral argument at this point, it's simply logical. In order for the human species to survive, we have to be in a communist society. That's it, full stop, point blank period. The study conclusions came under scrutiny. Now, I thought this was interesting. From some climatologists, including Michael Mann, director of the Center for Science, Sustainability, and the Media of the University of Pennsylvania. Quote, Jim and his co-authors are very much out of the mainstream with their newly published paper, Mann wrote in a blog post. That's fine. Healthy skepticism is a valuable thing in science. But the standard is high when you're challenging the prevailing scientific understanding, and I don't think they've met the standard by a long shot. Specifically, Mann disputed the research conclusions on the Earth's climate sensitivity. There is no reason that we can't prevent dangerous levels of warming through concentrated efforts to decarbonize the global economy, he wrote. The obstacles, at least at present, are political, not physical, or even technological. The research comes after a summer that was the hottest on record worldwide and weeks before the beginning of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Dubai. So I looked up, what the fuck was his name? Michael Mann a little bit, and I didn't find, there's a lot about him, but I didn't find anything that was overall that interesting. But I do, he's famous, like he's like the guy when it comes to climate science in the United States. But I do find it interesting that he's basically like, you guys are overreacting, but then you're telling me that we just crossed a 2-degree threshold. So I do wonder.
That article's in the side chat.
Yeah,
in case you don't see it.
No, I got it. But I do wonder, like, who backs up Michael Mann? I don't know anything about him.
I'd have to look him up. But it's like there's like we have climate scientists. I don't know if you remember that, like, chained themselves to a building and was screaming out to a crowd like, why are none of you like doing anything?
Right.
Because it's slow.
It's slow.
Climate change is slow.
We don't do well.
You get used to it until shit really pops off. Until there's legitimate famines, nobody's gonna notice. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna give a fuck. You know,
I'll add to that until there are
society collapse,
famines,
the dams falling apart. You know,
until there are famines in first world countries, people aren't going to start caring because there's already famines in other countries.
Yeah,
like the imperial.
So as soon as white people start dying,
then they'll care. But at that point, it's going to be too late.
Well, the countries the famines are happening in, a lot of that is actually because, you know, they don't have industrialization, so they have the incentive to do stuff that creates more global warming, I suppose, or climate change.
And then our country blames those countries for polluting the air and polluting the water. It's like, well, if we have global warming, why are they industrializing? It's like, well,
we actually got a comment on our address from our buddy Koba, real quick. Heard people in the grocery store happy Michigan was getting warmer. So this is one of the cringiest things I hear up here in New York when people are like, it's so nice. I'm not complaining. It's so pretty outside. And I'm like, the earth is dying. Like
my brother, I need you to listen to me.
Hermano, please.
Flowers are blooming in Antarctica, brother.
Oh my God. That article, that was probably, that phrase alone is like one of the scariest sentences I have ever read. The flowers are blooming in Antarctica. And, but like here where I live, I'm in the South, right? So it's usually pretty warm where I am. Like we regularly don't get snow, and when we do, it's very light. Today was like the first day it was actually cold, and people, same thing. We're like, oh man, the weather's
December.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, the weather's been so nice. You know, I feel like I can still go to the beach, and I'm like, it is almost December. We are close to Christmas. How the fuck is that okay? We should not be able to
How
go to
cold
the beach right
is
now.
it? What do you mean by cold, by the way, Cruz?
It got to 40 degrees today. No, I know.
Listen,
I know, but for the area I'm in, it's basically a subtropical region.
Subtropical.
It's turning subtropical.
It's
like,
gonna be subtropical.
It's gonna be.
I wouldn't.
So
I'm
but,
not
like,
gonna say that this shit is fucking the Caribbean, bro. You're
No,
talking
it's
about.
not. Shut the cutie. I will see you after the show, and I'm gonna.
Why
beat
don't you go
We'll fight.
liberate your country, and I'll join with you because that sounds
Okay.
fun.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, you want to do that?
Let's do that right now.
Let's go.
We're gonna. What are we gonna do to? No, I'm not gonna say that.
But like, it's just it just dumbfounds me. And I've been one of the ways I've been checking people is when they're like, "Oh man, the weather's so nice. It's been so warm," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's both happy and sad, isn't it?" And they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Exactly.
I just want to enjoy the weather." I'm like, I get it, but come on, you know this is not okay. I can see it in your face.
Yeah, I know we addressed it in another climate episode that we did, but I did bring up once that like even in my own life, I can physically remember like the changing of the climate. Like when I was younger, it used to snow very regularly in New York. Like from mid-October to basically the end of March, even sometimes into April, like it was snowing regularly every couple of days. Like it was a constant thing. Now it's just ice and depression and not a lot of snow. It's just
Slush.
and super dangerous. And like now where I live now, getting right on the border of the boonies, like when I moved on this side of the river, now there's power outages in the winter. So that's cool. That's exciting. That's fun and fresh.
This side of the river.
I had seen one talking point where it was like my area was talking about it too, where they're thinking about getting rid of the idea of a snow day
Mhm.
because it so rarely snows now, and now they don't expect it to really ever snow again. So they're like, oh, well, we don't need to plan for snow days anymore. And it's like, how does that not make you cry?
No, you'll just have to plan for inclement weather days.
Just like, how does that not make you cry though? Like,
Yeah. Right. Children, we can't go to school today because it's 130 degrees outside.
We have hit boiling point, so you are going to have to stay home.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at that article you sent. You good, cutie? You look a little
Be warned,
sleepy.
it is Washington Post.
Huh?
I said, you good? You look a little sleepy.
I am a little sleepy.
Me too. I gotta put in my shit.
God damn it. Fucking Bezos.
Fucking Bezos.
It's funny because it just pulled up when I pulled it up.
Come on. It won't let me scroll. This is a bunch of malarkey.
This is the suppression of news. This is what freedom of press gets you in a capitalist society.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Shut
I like how
Cuts to like 2 years from now, and like people are on our website. They're like, "Why is it making me pay $7?"
This is I like how it's not loading, and I just have to read "Democracy Dies in Darkness" from Jeff Bezos' newspaper.
They've had that for so long at this point.
No, I know.
That's
That
like
was when Trump got elected, right?
Yeah, that was when Trump got elected.
That's crazy because Jeff and Trump are most likely friends, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Oh, look, an ad. A woman passes a man resting on tires of a truck at a warehouse and storage site during a heat wave in Sao Paulo, Brazil on Friday. So, Earth passes a feared global warming milestone Friday, at least briefly. Planet marked an ominous milestone Friday. The first day global warmth crossed the threshold, if only briefly, that climate scientists have warned could have calamitous consequences. Preliminary data shows global temperature averaged more than 2 degrees Celsius above a historic norm, from a time before humans started consuming fossil fuels and emitting planet-warming greenhouse gases. That does not mean efforts to limit global warmings have failed yet. Temperatures would have to surpass the 2-degree benchmark for months and years at a time before scientists considered it reached. But it's a striking reminder that the climate is moving into an uncharted territory. Friday marked the first time that everyday fluctuations around global temperature norms, which have been steadily increasing for decades, swung the planet beyond the dangerous thresholds. It occurs after months of record warmth that may have stunned many scientists, defying some expectations how quickly temperature would accelerate this year. I think while we should not read too much into a single day above 2C, it's a startling sign nonetheless of the level of extreme global temperatures we are experiencing in 2023. I'm not even going to try to say that name. A climate scientist was straight at Berkeley Earth said in a message to the Washington Post. Samantha Burgess, Deputy Director, European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, said Sunday on social media platform Twitter that Friday's global temperatures were 1.17 C above the 1991-2020 average, a world record-setting margin. Yeah, so basically, it's revolution or death. That's what I'm getting out of this.
And like I wanted to talk about these kind of things and climate change and all that.
Yeah.
But obviously,
bring it all together.
Because it all comes together. It's all related. Like the stuff happening in Gaza. Like part of it is they want to get access to the $524 billion worth of oil reserves that exist in Gaza, which that is specifically the burning of oil and the overuse of oil directly contributes to climate change, which directly is heating up our planet. So all of this is caused by capitalism in itself. And the liberation, like it starts with the liberation of colonized peoples and ends with global revolution. Like that's the only way we're going to survive. And did you guys see Greta Thunberg like a while ago? What had happened that really like crosses these two worlds together?
No, what's up?
So I think it was in the Netherlands. There was like a climate change like event where she's well-known climate activist, so she given a speech and she brought up Gaza in the middle of it. And someone came from the crowd and got onto the stage and took the microphone from her and said, "I came here to hear about climate, not politics." And is like didn't want to hear like no. I care about the earth burning, not genocide.
That's fucking bananas, bro.
That right there, that was actually Greta's face when it happened. What Cutie's doing?
Cutie, do it again. I missed it.
Oh yeah.
This is a thumbnail of the episode. Let me look this up real quick. Greta
Thunberg. She keeps getting arrested too.
base. I guess we could play this one, but not here. I'll just see her.
It was a little while ago too, so it's not a, it might.
Fuck! I accidentally X'd out of it.
This cat, I swear to God.
I haven't heard her speak in years, and I'm like, oh, that's what you sound like. But anyway, let me play it for all our lefties and you guys.
We have to listen to the voices of those who are being oppressed and those who are fighting for freedom and for justice. We are destabilizing the biosphere and the very systems we depend on to survive as a civilization. We are not standing on the brink of a catastrophe. We are living in it. People on the front lines of the climate crisis have been experiencing the first-hand consequences of it for decades now, and they have been sounding the alarm, but we have not been listening. The people in power have not been listening.
I come here for a climate demonstration, not a political coup. This is climate demonstration.
Calm down. Calm down.
I like that person right at the end saying, "Let her speak," because like Good for you, Queen. But yeah, that's dumb as fuck. Like how they're completely related, my guy. You can't exist in this society without not being political.
I just like how it's like I didn't come here for politics. It's like, what do you think the solution to the climate crisis? Like, what
I
did you?
want you to tell me what's wrong, but I don't want you to tell me who's doing the wrong things.
Because it sounds like you're saying I'm doing the wrong thing, and I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. And people want to avoid. Just a comment from Cobra, which I think would be a good segue for us out of here. U.S. military are the largest contributors to global pollution worldwide, more than 100 companies combined. So, Cruz, why did we talk about? I mean, obviously, we updating everybody about Gaza and all that, but like, how is that related to climate disaster? And what are we doing as communists?
Because ultimately, like that particular comment says, the U.S. war machine and imperialism in general is reliant on oil and the harvesting of resources, not only for maintaining its power, but expanding its power across the world. And those processes have directly led to the greatest contributor of carbon gases that are leading to the global climate crisis. So like it all has to come apart if we're going to save anything. Like as much as industry as we're using it, if you take the chart of industrial output versus like what the US government and the military is doing, you get rid of the military part and like we could keep the industrial part for a little while and not feel the same thing. We have decades and centuries before we hit the same levels. So the war machine has to end, and it's just not going to without revolution, because they keep finding new places like Gaza, and then Lebanon's going to be next, and there's some stuff going on between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Eritrea? I don't know how to say it.
Eritrea,
Eritrea. There's some stuff.
Djibouti.
Yeah, there's stuff
Djibouti.
popping off over there too. Of course, Russia, Ukraine. The Korea situation is probably going to eventually escalate. The China Taiwan Formosa situation is currently being egged on. The stuff happening in Latin America, like it's just all connected. And the more the U.S. keeps pushing for these conflicts to go and keeps reinforcing capitalism and imperialism, the more it's going to start harvesting these resources, which is just going to exacerbate the climate crisis and kill us all.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what the average person doesn't understand, and for someone who's not in the military or been around that stuff, I don't think they would know this kind of stuff, but just how much, even in a non-combat setting, these global militaries, particularly the United States, are responsible for. So, like, you may be able to verify this, Cruz, but I heard a long time ago that basically U.S. jet fighters and cargo planes are essentially fueled and ready to go all the time, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just literally sitting there burning fuel away. And it's jet fuel, nonetheless. And it's not just one plane, it's hundreds, it's thousands.
Yeah, so
not just in the United States, it's all over the world.
Yeah, so like my area in particular has a master jet base where they train on this, and not only are the jets fueled up constantly, they are constantly flying. So they fly, they burn like the entire tank, they land, they fuel it up, and then they do it again and again and again and again all day, every day. And they do that all over the world where there are jet bases. And then we sell old jets to countries and train them how to do the same thing. And it just, we burn several million barrels a day, or like a second or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount that is burnt, just sitting there and then flying around to scare people.
And that's only one aspect, of the entire military apparatus. Now, when you put in actual combat operations, when you have a scenario like, the genocide is happening in Gaza, when 9/11 happened and the towers and Tower, whatever, I think 11, whatever it's called, when those buildings collapsed, they
the Jenga blocks fell over.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Oops.
when the Duplo playset fell over, and so much ash and asbestos and glass pulverized were in the air, and people were inhaling it and getting into water sources and people's ventilations everywhere. That's happening every day in Gaza.
Yeah.
Every day that Israel blows up these buildings, greenlit by the United States, all that pulverized glass and concrete and rebar is not only going into people's lungs, it's going into the air, it's going into the ecosystem, it's going into the ground, into the water, into animal diets that go back into people. Like it's it's a
And it
system.
directly affects Israel too. Like the citizens of Israel are directly affected by that pollution that comes as a result of the genocide.
Exactly. And as it's the same thing as applies to Ukraine, the Ukraine NATO war or Russian NATO war. Both in both these conflicts, white phosphorus has been used, and white phosphorus is even worse, especially airburst white phosphorus, as it literally gets carried by the wind downwind, God knows where, for people to just breathe in a chemical that burns on contact, like, or fall into somebody's well, and then you drink it, and then you have something far more devastating than how we see boomers here in the United States who are dealing with chronic lead poisoning.
I just want to address a comment in the chat. Yeah, 12.6 million gallons of fuel a day is burned.
And you have to pay how much to fill up your car? I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real.
And all of it results in the flowers blooming in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's pretty safe to say the Marxist-Leninist stance on this is the only way to prevent climate change, or we can't even prevent it at this point, to mitigate climate change, is revolution.
Mitigate and adapt to, because we're well beyond the point of stopping it. It's happening. We just have to learn how to survive and keep it from getting worse.
I'm just waiting for Snowpiercer, where they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we put this cold chemical in the sky, froze the entire fucking Earth because we're insane."
That was one of Bill Gates' plans. Not a cold chemical, but to like fly up in the air with a bunch of planes and release chemicals in the air. So like chemtrails, basically, right? But to make like a thin blanket to coat the entire Earth so that the rays from the sun are weakened, or like that not as much penetrates, kind of like simulating a super volcano erupting. That was the plan.
That sounds like it would go horribly wrong.
But the problem is, in order for that to work, the planes would have to constantly be flying. And if they stopped at any moment, then so like the temperatures would come down, right? But as soon as those planes stop, everything catches up, because we wouldn't stop the industrial output or the war machine output and the resource harvesting. So as soon as those planes stop, they would just go whoop, and we jump like 4 degrees in an instant and just fry.
That'd be funny. That'd be a good way to go out. But
fun.
I think that also goes to show that these billionaires are not intelligent.
No, they like to say they're intelligent, but they're really not.
Any final thoughts, boys?
Oh, Congo. I wanted to throw in there.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about Congo
because of
Armenia.
Not only the more or less silent genocide in Congo, but all of it's related to cobalt and electric vehicles, so and lithium. So that also directly leads to the climate crisis, but in a way that liberals are more okay with, because it's used for the creation of like electric vehicles. So
and your vapes.
Yeah, and the vapes. So it's like, oh well, the thing it creates is good for the environment. So who cares? We need that stuff.
Well, I think that would definitely be something good to talk about next week, especially because I'm fully admit it. I don't know nearly enough about that, what's going on in the Congo,
Yeah.
and would like to be educated on it. So how about we touch about that next week, my friends?
That would be great.
Okay.
Fantastic conversation.
Stay beautiful, comrades.
Free Congo, free Palestine, free all
Free
the
the people.
oppressed nations around the world. Communism will win. The working class will win. We're out. Love you all.